Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at the Walmart off of Custer Road in McKinney, Texas. As always, please make sure you're hitting that like button, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. I'd love for you to connect with me, so please feel free to send a direct message if you have any questions about the plants that I feature in my videos. And if you like 1 hour plant shopping videos daily, subscribe to my channel with the notification bell on. I do have a live premiere chat that typically is started at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. But anyways, we are looking at this beautiful Walmart out in North McKinney, Texas. It is a beautiful Sunday morning when I'm filming this, and I definitely wanted to go out and do some more filming to show you guys some beautiful plants. As you know, I do plant shopping videos daily, and these are typically from the big box stores. So I like to go to this particular Walmart because typically they have some really good plant merchandising. They stay in stock. So we're going to see what plants they have available here. I will be going on vacation next week, so I'm hoping to get as much content out there available for y'all to see what plants we can find at a big box store. But you can see here, early Sunday morning is one of the best times to go plant shopping because then there aren't that many people, there's not so many crowds, and it's easy for me to film and also take the time to show you what plants they have available. So as you can see, they have an outdoor section, so it's separated from the main place in Walmart. So I'm just gonna go pan over here and show you what outdoor and indoor plants that they have available with early summer and late spring. I have been featuring a lot of outdoor plants just because I also want to feature those for anybody who likes gardening as well. I love gardening. I mean, to be honest, I love all types of plants. I say that in all of my videos. So this is the reason why I will take my time and show you all of the beautiful plants that they have available here. The reason why I also like to go to this particular Walmart and a lot of these Walmarts that I usually feature, because they have a cycle of being able to clearance out some of their plants. You can see that they've got a huge variety of indoor plants right here, which we will touch base on in just a little bit. But I wanted to go see what plants that they have available outside. You can see that this Walmart is nice and full, and I am fortunate to be out in North Dallas, which is where I'm based at, because typically all of our big box stores and local nurseries are always stocked with plants. But you can see it is a beautiful Sunday morning. Although don't let the sun deceive you, it is extremely hot already. It's in the high 90s and it's only about 9 o'clock when I filmed this. But you can see right here, wax begonias. These used to be $12.97 by Garden Expert, but now they have been reduced to $5, so they're on clearance. These are beautiful plants. With wax begonia, they typically like to be more so in a shaded environment. You can grow them in full sun, but they do best when they are actually in partial sun, partial shade. You can see they've got the green variety here, and then they also have the dark foliage varieties here. These are also for $5. I have this one as well. This is a beautiful wax begonia. Again, this is for $5 on clearance, and you can see that they have white blooms. I really like the white blooms on this particular wax begonia because there's a huge contrast between the white blooms and the dark foliage. I love dark foliage plants. I feel like there is a certain elegance about them. But you can see that with the summer approaching, with hotter weather, it is a little bit more challenging, specifically in my grow zone, which is 8B. Now, the United States is actually going through an extreme heat wave. Part of me believes that this is, possibly the cause of, global warming. Some people don't believe that there's no global warming. I will say, though, in the last couple of years, it has become hotter and hotter, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that. But what I do know is the summers in Texas are extremely brutal, and this is the part of, I guess, growing plants that makes it a little bit challenging for me, because I have to water my plants a little bit more often, whether they're outdoors or indoors, just because it is very hot out here. I can run the AC a lot, but at the same time, that still dries up the plants indoors. And from all of my plant shopping videos, I mentioned that one of my challenges when it is growing plants is the fact that I don't always water my plants. I think part of it is also because I get myself overwhelmed with what's going on with my daily life. You know, I do have a very demanding job, and you know, with YouTube, being able to try to get you guys 1-hour plant shopping videos daily, it is a bit of a challenge, but I am not complaining. It's the one thing I look forward to, believe it or not, is to be able to go out and show you plants like this. Like for instance, these vinca flowers, for instance, beautiful plants, beautiful flowers, very heat resistant and drought tolerant, which is a really good deal, especially in my grow zone, which is 8B. That's the thing about growing plants outdoors. You really want to do your research on the grow zones that you live in. That way you can pick plants that are going to be a little bit more suitable for your climate. But you can see here, this is a succulent type ground cover. That is a portulaca. Love portulacas. They grow very well actually in Texas. And another thing that grows very well is crepe myrtles. So these are the first edition crepe myrtles. This is the Luna Magic. Love the dark foliage on this crepe myrtle, and you can see that the white blooms really contrast well with the dark foliage. Crepe myrtles in North Dallas, they are everywhere, especially in McKinney, Texas, out in Frisco. Crepe myrtles are easy to grow out in North Dallas. I think our climate definitely is suitable for them because they prefer hotter conditions. They love full sun, and they're very drought tolerant. Actually, with crepe myrtles, if you water them too much, or if their leaves and trunk stay too wet, they actually are more susceptible to fungal diseases. So it's always important to keep these crepe myrtles dry. I would say in some areas where you have cherry blossoms or like spring flowers, the best time to really see some beautiful blooms, at least in the North Dallas area, would be summer. If you go all over McKinney, you will see rows and rows of beautiful and mature crepe myrtles. Now, hibiscus, this is the Hibiscus America Sweetheart. These are the Hibiscus Hollywood series. So these ones I believe are for $16.95. This one is America Sweetheart, and I actually saw the bloom of this one when I went big box store plant shopping at Home Depot. But this one doesn't actually have a bloom yet. And then this one right here, this orange one, is called the Hibiscus Gold Digger. I think that's a funny name, but you can see how beautiful this hibiscus bloom is. Now, the hibiscus we're taking a look at right now are tropical hibiscus. So these hibiscus are not perennial. They also have what they call hardy hibiscus, which have actually shown up a lot in all of the local nursery stores out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This one is for $16.88. That is really not a bad price at all. Now, if you're going to grow this hibiscus in this grow zone, you would need to grow these in a container or be prepared for them to be more so of an annual plant if you're going to grow them in your landscape. Annual plants, again, are plants that will only grow through one growing season because they will die off in the spring, or not in the spring, sorry, that actually die off in the winter and then will not come back in the spring. Perennials, however, are plants that will go back in the springtime. So as you can see here, a lot of the plants out in the outdoor section at most of the Walmarts I've visited lately are not nearly as stocked, and I think it's because it is summertime. I think some of the actual planting has slowed down a little bit. So you know, plant foliage, let me know what you think, or if that is also happening in your big box stores. You know, my goal is to actually provide big box store plant shopping videos daily just to see what is available there, and hopefully I've been able to educate you guys on the different varieties of plants that you can find at big box stores. As a plant lover myself, as somebody who grows plants both indoors and outdoors, it's really important for me to just kind of see what's going on with the plants that we have in our big box stores. So you'll see a lot of the same varieties of plants that I feature in my videos, but if you do like looking at plants alongside with me, I hope that you'll stay tuned to the very end of this video. You can see here, for instance, we've got some crepe myrtles. This is the crepe myrtle Shadow Magic, and I like the crepe myrtle Shadow Magic as well because if you really look at the leaves, look at how dark the leaves are. It is absolutely stunning, and you can see that it's got some nice red blooms, really nice contrast. I would I actually prefer all three dark foliage varieties of the crepe myrtle plants. You can see here that look at how dark that is. It almost reminds me of like a Raven ZZ color. What a beautiful plant. And what I love about it is these crepe myrtles can take full sun. They love the heat. They are drought tolerant. So if you are in an environment where it's a little bit drier and you need something that's beautiful and flowering, In the summertime, I would recommend crepe myrtles. And then you can also see that knockout roses. So roses here, this is another hybrid rose where basically knockout rose is actually more disease resistant. It's self-cleaning. So that means you don't necessarily have to deadhead or cut off the dead blooms for it to keep blooming. It is a profuse bloomer. And then as I walk over here, you'll see a couple of more succulents. So a lot of the succulents have actually sold through at this location, but you can see this is a large aloe vera plant, $24.48. Really nice looking aloe vera plant. And again, as I'm learning more about succulents and cacti, I didn't realize that there were so many different varieties of aloe vera plant. You can see these are assorted succulents. These are for $6.96. So I'm just going to show you the plant ID there. You can see that this is a nice looking one as well. It almost looks like a chrysala or jade plant, but this one is not a chrysala jade plant. I like that. I want to get more so into succulents. The only thing about succulents is I'm not 100% sure on like which succulents can really take a lot of heat. I just assume that all succulents can just be grown out in full sun. Apparently that is not the case. And I really learned that quickly when I put some of my beautiful Aeonium succulents out in full sun, and they ended up just kind of frying and dying. So I bought some Aeonium succulents, the Aeonium kiwi succulents, out at a local plant nursery called North Haven Gardens. They're actually growing on the west facing window in my bedroom, and they get a lot of light. They're doing fine right now, but I just know that there's a little bit more research I need to do for some of these succulents. You know, my plant foldies, and if you are new to my channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. I know some of you guys have really requested that I show you guys more succulents. There are a variety of different types of plants I want to show you. Obviously, indoor tropical plants, aeroids, the philodendrons, all of those typical house plants that you'll see. But I do want to show more succulents and cactus because there is a demand for that. And I've had requests about seeing more of like the products I use for my plants, whether it's planters or fertilizers. So stay tuned for that. I did take note on that, specifically from one of my most loyal plant foldies, Kathy from Canada. I've got you, lady. I got you covered. I've got some more of these, you know, some of these requests that you've asked, especially with the plant products I use. So stay tuned for that. You can see over here, though, we have some oleander. So I do like oleander. When I was actually out in California, oleanders were literally growing on the sides of the roads. They do need full sun. That is a very toxic and poisonous plant. However, you don't want to get the sap on your hands. You definitely don't want to ingest any piece of that plant because it is very toxic. So just FYI on that, there are some plants, even though they are in a store easily accessible for people, you want to make sure that you are doing research. That is one plant that is highly toxic. Here is some Asiatic jasmine. I'm growing some of those in containers in the hopes to grow them as like a trailing house plant. And then I love variegated ajuga. Not sure why, they almost look like vegetables. And then you can see over here, we've got a bunch of assorted ground covers. And of course, this can't be a Grow Folds video without featuring a Hedera helix. Or the correct way to say it is Hedera helix, or in English ivy. This is for $4.37. And you already know with Hedera helix, that is an easy to care for plant when you grow it outside. It is probably the most difficult or challenging plant to grow indoors because I have seen many people fail growing English ivy indoors because they're so spider mite prone. For some reason, if you don't stay on top of the watering, if you don't stay on top of the humidity levels indoors, English ivy just don't do well. Now I have two Hedera helix growing outdoors in my front patio, and they're doing just fine. But I just remember taking 14 English ivy into my care, and all 14 of them have made it to plant heaven. It's really disappointing because I really do love English ivy. And the reason why I talk about English ivy, the reason why it has become sort of like a staple or some type of joke on the channel is because I just can't get the plant care down, and it's one of those things where it is a challenge and I want to conquer that challenge. So plant folies, let me know if you are actually growing Hedera helix or English ivy. I love the look of English ivy, especially the different variegations on them, also the different species of English ivy that they have. There's just so many varieties. I mean, I can talk about English ivy all day, and I might do that for another special video. But for now, I did want to show you this red apple. Like, this is some type of succulent ground cover for $4.37. And, you know, when I was looking at this a couple weeks back, it was definitely not in bloom. So I find it interesting that as summer comes around, some plants have started to bloom. You know, crepe myrtles, you'll see that everywhere, but even this ground cover, it would be amazing to see this full of blooms, these red blooms. I do find them endearing. Look at that. That is so cute. Really like that a lot. And then if you touch the leaves on this particular one, it does feel like a succulent. It almost feels like a portulaca. So like plant foliage, let me know if you've actually grown that succulent type plant as a ground cover. And then obviously we've got some more variegated ajuga here. I do like the variegated ajuga. It is a thirsty plant, but when I'm growing them outdoors, they can actually tolerate a lot of different lighting conditions. Like one I'm growing in full sun, and then the other one I'm growing in almost full sun, and it's doing very well. It's actually getting some beautiful purple and pink variegation. I find that this plant actually gets better variegation or colors when it is exposed to a little bit more light. And I can say that a lot with a lot of plants. So if you're looking for a plant to give you the best coloration, more bright indirect light or just light in general is really gonna give you the best coloration for a lot of plants. Now here it is another ajuga plant. This is for $4.37. Really like the dark foliage of this one right here. It's got a really nice texture to the leaves. I actually need to go ahead and buy one of those. And if you see it right next to the ajuga variegated version, you can see that this one has a unique look in terms of just the dark foliage. I am hoping that perhaps this plant will go on clearance as well as the season progresses. And that's the thing, plant folies. My biggest advice is, especially on how to get cheap plants, is to just constantly frequent your big box stores, specifically Walmart, because there are several different plant vendors that actually go in and mark down the prices. I know that this is my go-to place, for instance, if I want to get some cheap Philodendron Pink Princess. And I say this because they always get a lot of Philodendron Pink Princess, Philodendron White Princess, and just a lot of these rare philodendrons, or I wouldn't even say rare anymore. Some philodendrons that used to be rare, they have marked them down to as low as $5. And so I don't really buy the plants full price unless I know that it's a plant that I really want. But if you're gonna ask me if I would buy like a Philodendron Ring of Fire, Philodendron Pink Princess, Philodendron White Princess, I would definitely refrain from doing so, because I know in maybe another 2 to 3 weeks, all of the plants that I'm going to feature in a later part of this video will most likely go on clearance, because there's just not enough volume for these plants to be sold through. At least there's not as much interest to sell through them. I am interested in these Penta plants though. Those are beautiful Pentas plants, or star cluster flowers. And then we also have some beautiful vincas right over here. Now vincas are really easy to grow in Texas because they do prefer hotter conditions and they love full sun. So this is for $17.97, right? Or $17.88, I'm sorry, $17.88 here by Garden Expert. Now, a lot of the plants that are sourced out to Walmart are taken care of by Altman Plants. I've been able to talk to a couple of the plant vendors that take care of the plants here. And so I just like the fact that they are very diligent about, keeping plants healthy. I've seen a lot of their plant vendors watering their plants, clearancing out plants that may not necessarily be in the best health, in the hopes of trying to push them to somebody that will actually take care of them. But you can also see that these Walmarts right here also have some very specific Texas plants that will grow in Texas climate, and I really like that. Now you can see over here we've got a bunch of flowers. Those are the impatient flowers. Impatiens do need to be in shade. And so now, plant foldies, we're gonna walk over here and take a look at some of their house plants, indoor tropical plants. A lot of these plants, I don't know if they've necessarily gotten a restock, but I will say they do keep these plants organized. I'm super excited that this Walmart is very accessible to me. I'm based out in this area. This is literally like a 6-minute drive from where I'm based at, and that's the reason why I often feature this Walmart because it's easily accessible and you can never get tired of looking at plants. For those that continue to go actually watch my plant shopping videos at big box stores, I really appreciate it. Your viewership means a lot to me, and the fact that you guys continue to build onto our community on the live premiere chats is amazing. You can see here too that this is an Alocasia I saw the last time I visited it, and you can see that this has a lot of Alocasia babies that have actually come up from corms. I would venture to say there's about 4 to 5 Alocasia plants in here. Now this one is for $17.57. You know, this is that fancy Alocasia. I'm not 100% sure which variety of Alocasia that is, but I will say this one right here is an Alocasia cuprea, and it's another Alocasia I've really thought about adding to my collection, but Alocasias haven't done so well for me, and that's really for me being so negligent. You know, I don't really just water my plants, and you know, with Alocasia they cannot really be underwatered, or a plant that you don't you know, necessarily water. You want to make sure that you stay on top of the watering. I do find this Alocasia cuprea beautiful. Look at the dark foliage on it, and this used to be a very sought after Alocasia, a very expensive Alocasia, but you know that was like what, 2 to 3 years ago, and now you can see them at big box stores. That's the exciting part about big box store plant shopping, is you will be able to find plants that used to be very expensive now at a decent price. Like you can even see here, Philodendron Pink Princess. This is one I saw last time. This one has decent variegation as well. This one is for $24.47, I believe. Yep, I think that is for actually no, that is. Yeah, that is for $19.97. So it's interesting that this has a little bit of a different price point. Philodendron Pink Princess, you really want to find one that has a lot more pink variegation, because Philodendron Pink Princess, it's not really the amount of light you provide it. Sure, if you provide it with more light, it's going to be more vigorous, but as far as the variegation is more so on its initial genetics. And I would say the same thing with the Philodendron Ring of Fire. Like, take a look at this right here. This is a beautiful specimen of Philodendron Ring of Fire. I've got a couple of Philodendron Ring of Fire. As a matter of fact, I may pot up some of my Ring of Fires tonight on a poll. I bought a bunch of these actually here, and these are for $24.47, but I got these on clearance for $7 at this particular Walmart. So again, it's all about patience. It's all about waiting it out. I know that I am going so broke with all of the plant shopping videos I've been doing. You got to think, I'm literally in a big box store or a local nursery every single day. And you know, that's because I want to give you guys that content. I don't really see a lot of other plant YouTubers really doing daily plant shopping videos. So all I ask is, if you guys are watching this video or have made it this far, please make sure you are hitting the like button. Please, please, please hit that like button for me. I appreciate all of the plant foldies, especially Luke, Travis, Kathy, telling people on the live premiere chats to hit the like button. I can't tell you enough how much it helps the channel grow, because when somebody hits the like button for this video, it is actually pushed out to more plant lovers like yourself, as well as leaving comments. I will tell you, Alfred from Canada, for instance, you leave so many comments, as well as Terry. Thank you, ma'am, for leaving so many comments about Hedera Helix or Hydra Helix. Keep it coming. I love seeing like 100+ comments per video. So that's like one of my goals to see. So hopefully you guys can help me with that. But as you can see here, Sunday morning, looking at beautiful plants. What better way to start out your Sunday morning by looking at big box store plants? As you can see here, all of these plants is, there's a whole collection of different types of philodendron. We've got a bunch of Alocasia, and just look at that. Look at how beautiful that Ring of Fire is. This is another Ring of Fire, and I do like that they've upgraded it, or actually updated their planter that they put it in. I love modern, contemporary, very simple matte finishes when it comes to planters. I love displaying my plants that way, and so I like this. I even like the simplistic shape on it. I'm not necessarily a fan of a lot of like patterns or like different colors on planters. I prefer them to be a little bit more simple. And you can see here, look at how beautiful that coloration is on the Philodendron Ring of Fire. Again, this was another plant that I would say 3 to 4 years ago was extremely expensive. I mean, it was definitely in the 3-digit range, and now you can find them at a Walmart out in North McKinney, Texas, off of Custer Road. And what's interesting is I am so flattered and honored that I've been able to help some of my local plant foldies, the ones that live out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, get some of their wish list plants through my videos. So that's why I make an attempt to actually tell you the details of where I specifically find these plants. That way you're able to go out and, you know, maybe get some of the plants you want. Over here, this is a cuddly cactus, and it is a beautiful cactus, but I quickly learned that the cuddly cactus actually, as it grows, actually has little prickly needles, because I touched this one right here like that hurt. And there was actually needles there, so it is interesting. I've never really seen new growth on a cuddly cactus. It's not as cuddly as you think. Either way, this is for $14.97. It is a cute looking cactus. It's one that doesn't really look like a real plant, but it definitely is. And then over here, I eventually will get this. This is a flame violet or an Especia. Now this one is a Costafar's exotic angel plant for $4.97. So the thing I want to do is when I come back from the Philippines, I definitely want to revamp my plant room. I started my plant room and then I totally neglected it. I have a lot of my plants actually out in my kitchen and living room area. I was able to make little islands of spaces of plant clusters. I eventually will do a house plant tour. It seems like that is a high demand. I just want to make sure that my house is in order for YouTube. So please stay tuned to that, as well as my coleus plant collection tour. I definitely will have that available for you no later than after the Philippines. And for those who haven't been watching my videos, my name is Richie, and actually my family is from the Philippines, and that is the reason why I talk a lot about Filipino culture and things that are related to the Philippines. Super excited to be going to the Philippines on June 27th, which is next week. Which comes back to the whole fact that I do have a lot of plant shopping videos already scheduled out. You'll see a lot of plant marathons, plant shopping compilations. So hopefully you guys will still tune in while I'm on vacation. I was really stressed about whether everybody was still going to engage with my plant shopping videos while I was gone, because clearly I wouldn't be able to like film 18 new episodes. I just don't have the time when you think about how long each video takes, you know, to do something like this where I'm filming, you know, these beautiful succulents, for instance. It takes about an hour, the drive time, which isn't that much, but also to edit and also put the plant IDs. You'll notice that some of my videos may not have plant IDs, but I do my very best to get you guys plant IDs because I feel like you guys appreciate that. I know that I've been giving a lot of feedback that it does educate people on the different types of varieties of plants. Now, when it comes to this though, like these succulents, I don't know all of the succulent names as much as I do with, say, other outdoor plants or even, you know, all of the indoor tropical plants. Now, I will say this is one of my favorite crassulas. This is a crassula obliqua tricolor, beautiful plant as well. It's another plant that if you sun stress it or you give it a lot more light, it's going to give you better coloration. You'll see more of the yellows. You'll see the edges of the leaves have a little bit more pink or red. And that's the beauty about succulent type plants. Same thing can be said about Hoyas. And then over here is one of my favorite Alocasias. This is an Alocasia Milo Light. Now, if you touch the leaves, they literally feel like leather. It's got such a thick leaf. It almost feels like a succulent as well, and how thick the leaves are. Now, this is another Alocasia that I ended up buying earlier this season. I didn't do so well with it because I ended up just not watering it, and I didn't realize that Alocasia don't do very well when you underwater them. So, you know, lesson learned, and that's the reason why every day I do my plant shopping videos to kind of tell you my insights and just my personal thoughts about just anything, whether it's really plant related. Most of it will be plant related, but I utilize this plant shopping video as more like a personal blog as well, because I want you guys to get to know me a little bit better. Over here, we've got a Philodendron Ring of Fire. This one is also for $24.47. That's got some good variegation. And I'm actually curious, plant foldies, do you own a Ring of Fire? Have you bought one from Walmart? What are your thoughts about some of the philodendron that have been released out this season? Is it your cup of tea? I like to know, and so if you guys can, please leave a comment in the comment section. I'd really appreciate it, just because, again, I love that engagement that I get from the plant shopping videos, and I will respond to each and every one of y'all. I decided that I wasn't gonna postpone my variegated domesticanum philodendron giveaway on Instagram. I will be announcing the winner tomorrow, so if you have Instagram and you want some more free entries, please go to my Instagram at Growfolds and make sure you find the reel with the actual giveaway. You can tag as many people as you want. Today, you'll get double entry. So for every tag, you'll get 2 more tickets put into the random drawing. So please make sure you follow that and see if you'll win. I know that I was able to send out that Thai constellation. I plan on doing many more plant giveaways when I come back from the Philippines. I know that I have a Philodendron Ring of Fire that I definitely want to give out as a free plant giveaway. So again, plant foldies, if you get a chance, please make sure you're following me on Instagram. But as you can see here, you know, this Walmart typically has a lot of plants just stored up. You can see that we've got a bunch of Epipremnum aureum, golden pothos. Gotta love that golden pothos, because golden pothos, for just some reason, it is just such an easy plant. It is a plant that I would recommend for anybody that wants to grow plants. It's an easy to care for plant. It's another plant that you can propagate and get many cuttings from. I actually have a couple of propagations and cuttings that I need to do for this, to actually plant into the soil. The only thing about Epipremnum aureum or pothos plants is, again, they can tolerate being underwatered, but if you don't water them long enough, they do decline in health. And I would say that about any plant. Now, this plant right here I'm picking up is a Dracaena. I think this is a Dracaena lemon lime. Now, this is a plant that can tolerate being underwatered for quite a bit of time, as in, like, it almost is like a succulent in its tolerance for drought. So that is another plant that is very underrated. I don't know why some people don't find interest in this Dracaena. Like, this one right here is for $9.97. This is a Dracaena Dorado, and you can see how vigorous the roots have already come out of the drainage holes. This is another beautiful plant, and the thing about Dracaenas is they can not only tolerate lower light conditions, they're drought tolerant, they can actually grow fairly large as well. And so if you have like a dark space in your household, this is another plant that you can definitely take care of and add into your collection, which is what I really like. I have a couple of Dracaenas, I always joke around and ask you guys whether I'm a plant influencer or not. Truth be told, I don't have, thousands and thousands of followers. I'm still trying to get 10,000 followers. So we've been sitting at 300 more followers. We'll get to 10,000 subscribers. But I will say my agenda is to influence our plant foldies to look at certain plants that might be underrated. This is a beautiful Anthurium, for instance. I love that Anthurium. This is for $4.97. You will need to make sure you provide it with a lot of bright light in order for it to do very well. But when you look at certain plants, we can look at this. This is a plant I feel like everybody should get. So if you are a plant foldie and you follow me, everybody go ahead and go to a big box store, buy yourself this Dracaena Janet Craig compacta. It is an easy to care for plant. It is a plant I would recommend because it can get up to 3 to 4 feet in height. It's just such a beautiful plant. And so my thing is, I want to influence you guys to look at plants that are just, besides the philodendrons, besides these rare aroids. Like, I would love for everybody to get into like coleus plants. I know some people have actually bought coleus plants by watching my videos, but even like looking at this Dracaena lemon lime, for instance, I would hope that people would get into the Dracaena lemon limes, coleus plants, and aglaonemas. Like aglaonemas, I haven't talked nearly as extensively about aglaonemas, but that is another plant species that I absolutely love. Don't get me wrong, like I love Philodendron white princess, for instance, or philodendrons in general. I actually added a Philodendron gloriosum. Yesterday I wasn't planning on it, but sometimes a plant will talk to you even though you have you want to have the restraint to not buy any more plants. But again, it is all about, you know, maybe getting exposed to different types of plants. I know for the majority, whenever you look at like social media, for instance, if you're on Instagram, you'll see all of these rare variegated philodendrons. And then sometimes you don't really see like even the easy care for common plants like coleus plants. You'll see that beautiful philodendron ring of fire, for instance, and then as beautiful as it is, and it's actually an easy to care for plant, I just feel like plant foldies, there is just more to plants than we see on social media or we see people growing. So hopefully, as you guys continue to watch my videos, you guys will get more exposed to different types of plants. Maybe just my personal favorites. You know, I am biased. You know, I like what I like, and certain plants I may not also be into. Like I've been told that, you know, some people may not be into succulents. I totally get it. I wasn't as into succulents until recently. Actually, just looking at some of the succulents, I did think, maybe I can get into succulents, because certain succulents, for instance, have beautiful pink coloration, and I love pink plants. Like that's a beautiful philodendron pink princess. And again, with philodendron pink princess plant foldies, you have to make sure that you find a philodendron pink princess that already has good variegation. Because if you find one that doesn't have a lot of variegation, and I can say this from experience, I've actually had one that was mostly burgundy with some splotches of pink. I literally let it grow under a grow light for 24 hours and it would just not push out any more variegation. So it is about the initial genetics, at least for that. Now these are Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf trees. Love that as well. It is a finicky plant. It is another plant that I say thrives on consistency. Actually, most ficus plants, and I say this in all my videos, they need consistency. So whether it is being placed in an area where they're not going to get moved around a lot, because if you grow a Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf and you move it around your house, it'll definitely drop its leaves. It also needs to make sure it has consistent like a watering schedule. So if you're going to water it once a week, water it once a week. You don't want to water it once a week and then all of a sudden fall behind your schedule and water it, because it will get unhappy and it will drop its leaves. I've seen it. I've done it. It's, I mean, I'm speaking from experience. So just little things like that help with the plant. Now, these ones right here, though, these large foliage plants. So I showed you a Dieffenbachia, which is a little bit more challenging of a plant, right next to a Dracaena, which is an easy to care for plant. Now, these are also for $19.84. Walmart is probably by far one of the most cost-effective places to buy plants holistically. I would say grocery stores like H-E-B, so H-E-B is only available in Texas, probably have cheaper plants, but for the most part, Walmarts in general have inexpensive plants. Like take a look at this Dieffenbachia and look at how beautiful that leaf is. Now with Dieffenbachia, what makes them more challenging is they do require bright light. If you don't provide them the light, they tend to get leggy and they just tend to get unhappy very quickly. So that's the reason why I don't grow Dieffenbachia. I have two Dieffenbachia. I have a Dieffenbachia Cool Beauty, which I got on sale at Kroger for $16.99. It's probably the cheapest place to buy trending tropicals, Costa Farms plants is Kroger grocery store. So if you have a Kroger grocery store in your area, I would recommend frequenting it and checking out what trending tropical plants that they have. But you can see here, beautiful Monstera deliciosa right here. Love Monstera deliciosa. And I did want to do a plug for those that like Monstera deliciosas. Please check out my friend Janae Simone's YouTube channel. She has been more consistent about posting more plant content. She has some phenomenal plant work. I love her editing. I love her commentary, and just her Monsteras, which she names is really interesting as well. So I hope everybody can check that out, as well as my friend Steven at I Lift Plants. Y'all already know Steven is a certified plant foldie. Let's help his channel grow. Let's help Janae's channel grow. We are having a podcast collab series soon, so hopefully you guys will tune into that. But as you can see here, this is an example of an epiperennial alplissimum that has not been watered, and it's sad because they're in self-watering planters. That one's for $19.84. I really like the look of this. And thank you to my plant foldie, Gloria, that I met not too long ago in person randomly. She gifted me a epiperennial alplissimum plant. Really appreciate that. I really love it, and it is growing very well for me so far. So that's the thing, plant foldies is, you know, whenever you go to a big box stores, I think the most frustrating and sad part about going to a big box store is seeing some of the plants get neglected. I have been told that I've been a little bit too critical of big box stores. Admittedly, I am, and that's because I'm very passionate about the plants. I feel like if there was a lot of time invested in growing the plants, getting them into the soil, sourcing them out, putting them on a truck, getting them unloaded to be put on a shelf, the last thing they need to end up in is this. Like this one right here is a plant that I saw about a week ago, and now it's just kind of mushy. This is an Alocasia Regina. Really love this Alocasia as well, but you can see that one is starting to decline in health. I will say Costa Farms Trending Tropical Plants though are owned by Walmart. I think they don't have a plant vendor that clearances them out. So part of me just wishes that this, you know, Walmarts would be a little bit more diligent about just clearancing out their plants. Perhaps some of their plants will actually move if they clearance them out. That's just my personal opinion. You know, let me know in the comments what you think, plant foldies, but it is just a little bit disheartening to see that certain plants just decline in health. These are looking super healthy though. Love that Monstera Peru. I'm looking for a variegated Monstera Peru though. I think it'd be really interesting. I am excited though, when you talk about variegated plants, to be going to PlantCon 2024 in Dallas on August 31st, September 1st. It will be such a fun time. I went to the Houston one, and if you haven't seen that PlantCon 2024 video, the Houston one I did, please check it out in some of my older videos here. I've got some playlists, and that actually goes back to the whole thing. For those that, you know, watch my plants and not, you know, my plant shopping videos and just have me talking in the background, feel free to go to my playlist and binge my videos. I would love that, especially if you're just looking to hear somebody talk about plants. So just a suggestion for that. But plant foldies, you can see here so many plants, and actually I enjoyed this Walmart, to be honest, just because while some of their plants may not be as healthy, I do love the fact that they still keep a very full plant. Like you can see, you know, plant selection, you can see here like this Ficus Audrey. Really love the look of this Ficus Audrey. And if you notice the Ficus Audrey, or most ficus plants, if you chop the top of the plant off, it will promote more branching. You can see that the top of that plant was cut, and you can see that there is another side shoot here. This is a unique plant because it can get extremely large, and then the leaves are very velvety and textured. So I really like that a lot. And you can see here we've got some Monstera Stadliana, or what they call the Monstera Cobra. And then you can see here we've got some more beautiful Monstera Perus, or what they call Green Galaxy, or that's what Costa Farms calls them. Either way, this is another plant that you can let trail, but actually if you let it grow up a totem pole or moss pole, the leaves will get larger. I love the texture of this leaf, and this is another example of a plant that has a lot of just beauty being green. You know, a lot of times we don't always look at the plants that are green. We look for the variegated plants. I typically go for plants that have a lot of colors. That's the reason why I love Aglaonemas. I love Syngoniums. I love Coleus plants. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with Coleus plants. Unfortunately, this, you know, there were no Coleus outdoors. It looks like a lot of these Coleus are starting to kind of phase out as summertime hits. But you can see here, Ficus Audrey, love this, for $14.97 in a self-watering planter. You can see that it's starting to branch out. I remember buying a Ficus Audrey from Walmart about 3 years ago for $5, and now it is extremely large. It's actually super neglected in my backyard. I have it growing in a big planter, a 12-inch planter that I need to go ahead and repot, probably chop up and see if I can actually revitalize it, because it is a full-blown tree now. If you ever want to see a large Ficus Audrey full grown, if you see my video that features Plant Keeper Incorporated, that's another local Dallas plant nursery. Definitely check that video out. They have some large foliage plants that are in their full maturity. And then over here is a hanging basket of Philodendron cordatum, beautiful Philodendron. Also, some people will call this Philodendron heteroraceum, just a green variety. This one is for $19.84 in an Exotic Angels hanging basket by Costa Farms. And I have to give Costa Farms credit. I love that Costa Farms does provide us with so many beautiful plants. I just hope that Costa Farms can continue to push more plants, especially that Monstera Thai constellation. I am looking for a Costa Farms Monstera Thai constellation. I haven't been lucky enough to do it. Not that I don't have enough Monstera Thai constellations. I've got several. I actually have a rooted cutting that has been sitting in water and has been propagated that I need to pot up. There's a couple of plants I actually want to pot up. While I am excited to be going to the Philippines, you know, in the next 4 days, I'll be flying out. I have honestly been a little bit stressed, plant foldies. Today has been a little bit stressful for me. You know, when I'm at work, I'm definitely at work, but then even when I'm not at work, my work kind of pours in, and there's just so many things that I need to think about when it comes to like what I have to do the next couple of days. So one solution I've told myself is after I edit this video and get it up for our live premiere tonight is I'm gonna go take some plants and just pot them up and just get some plant therapy. So plant foldies, let me know if you utilize plant care as like plant therapy to really just help with your stresses or mental health. I mean, I think even looking at plants like this is a beautiful, it says a global green pothos, but I don't think this is a global green pothos. I think this is an Epipremnum aureum lemon meringue pothos. Look at how beautiful that variegation is. But even looking at plants, for me, potting up plants is very relaxing. And that's what I plan to do. But you can see this is a pothos plant that they're the same plant, but notice how on the left side that particular plant had better lighting conditions, therefore it had better variegation versus the other one that has more of a green color. So with lemon meringue pothos, again, this is another example of a plant that needs more light. The more light you provided, the better variegation it's gonna pop off and give you. So that's just, you know, things that we want to keep, you know, take a look at in order for us to really have that best variegation. I learned that the hard way because I thought that, you know, certain plants that won't revert, but the one, the lemon meringue pothos I bought not too long ago ended up becoming more so green, and I'm struggling to get that variegation to come back. Here's another beautiful Scindapsus moonlight, Trubii moonlight, another plant that is easy to care for. I love that silver blue color. Now, if you want that silver blue color to really stick, this is another plant that you need to give bright indirect light to really give that variegation or that coloration. And here's another one as well. I think when I come back from the Philippines, this is another plant that I would love to just add to my collection because it is an easy care for plant. You know, I'm all about those easy care for plants that aren't necessarily rare, but also bring me joy because they're easy to care for. Nothing is, there's like not a better feeling than to look at like a plant and see like new leaves unfurling, seeing a plant just consistently growing for you. Raven ZZ, that's another plant that I love, easy to care for plant. I ended up buying 3 Raven ZZs for $7 because they ended up clearancing them out. And in today they are getting extremely large. And this is another plant that I would say work well for people who are super busy, who may not have the best lighting conditions. And you can see here, look at this. This is a Raven ZZ that, you know, branch that fell off. And then I noticed that there is another ZZ plant here. Truthfully, I could ask the staff if I could just take these home because they're going to end up just throwing that away and putting, you know, and taking it home, putting it in water and water propagating it. You know, I saw that one YouTube video called How to Get Free Plants. And it was like plant, what is it called? Plant, I forgot what it was called. It was like plant stealing or something like that, but it's not necessarily stealing. Prop lifting, where it's like you got like a cutting and then you would just propagate it and all of that. But again, that is another interesting YouTube video if you guys haven't checked that out. Now, plant foldies, check this out. This is an Aglaonema red Siam. Really love the look of this as well. This is another Aglaonema that is easy to care for. Aglaonemas are so underrated. If you've been watching my videos and you haven't bought one of these, please do. Maybe the next day when you go plant shopping. Let's all have Aglaonemas in our plant collection as well. Here's another beautiful Aglaonema red siam. I love the pink stems on the Aglaonema red siam. Now this is another Aglaonema that if you give it a lot of bright indirect light, you'll get some better coloration. And then over here, we've got a beautiful begonia maculata. This is for $19.84. It's another Costa Farms trending tropical plant. This has a little bit of cosmetic damage, but I still find this a beautiful plant because if you look at it, look at how beautiful the polka dots are on this particular angel wing begonia. It does need a stake because it likes to grow up, but it is another beautiful plant. My grandmother ended up propagating this for me, so I got a free plant. And again, plant foldies, if you want to save money on plants, it's easy for us to go to a big box store and want to buy plants, but if you are part of like a Facebook page or a community like maybe Grow Folds, you may be able to like share cuttings or even share plant propagations. In the future, I'd like to do like plant meetups, plant swaps, things of that nature, but it just really depends on where this channel goes. I know that we've got such a strong and positive community, and so I'm hoping to be able to have more plants accessible to different types of people. That way, you know, you can save some money. I know I am all about saving money when it comes to plants. You know, whenever I think about the amount of money I've spent already for doing these plant shopping videos, I kind of look back and think, you know, what if I just ended up like getting a plant from somebody else through a plant propagation, maybe sharing cuttings, etc. So that is also in the works. I have a lot of ideas. So plant foldies, just let me know in the comments section what other ideas you want in terms of how our community is growing, what kind of features you want to see. If you want to see a plant meetup, just let me know. I'd really like to hear your thoughts. You can see here too for $14.97, we've got a beautiful Sansevieria trifasciata or a snake plant, beautiful plant as well. And then you notice that a lot of these plants are, they look okay. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily the most healthy looking plants, but for a big box store like Walmart, they're doing okay. I am gonna walk over here and look at this one table as well. So it looks like they've got some Anthuriums, they've got some ponytail palms, they've got some ZZ plants. They've got this Anthurium here. I love Anthuriums. They're an easy to care for plant. It's another plant I feel like people will actually overlook. You know, when you think of Anthuriums, you think of those super hybrid, beautiful looking Anthuriums that are super rare and expensive. But even this blooming floral Anthurium, I just feel like people should get more into. And then you can see right here, bromeliads. I've learned to like bromeliads. I have one bromeliad in my plant collection and it actually hasn't given me any stresses. So that's a, you know, that's a plus. I feel like this bromeliad though would be more up to my speed. I love that red tone on it and it just looks like somebody spray painted color. And then I'm going to show you guys some sago palms. So these are for $14.97. Sago palms can actually get extremely large. I really like the look of sago palms. They do require a lot of light. You know, it is a palm, so whenever you think of palm type plants or palms, they need a lot of bright light. But I did want to pull this out and show you how cool a sago palm's like new growth is. So before the leaves unfurl, you can see how the base is really just nice and thick. But as I go up here and show you this, look at that. It's got some like new leaves coming up, but it goes up like a point and then it just curls back down and gets large. I think that's such a cool way of you know, unfurling leaves. And that's the thing about it. Like, I love seeing new growth on plants. I have a couple of new leaves unfurling on some of my Monstera and some of my Philodendron, and that really does bring me a lot of joy. It's like the subtle things that plants do, like that new leaf unfurling, that really bring me joy. And then you can see here another Aglaonema red siam. I really think you guys should get an Aglaonema red siam for $14.97 at Walmart. Definitely want to check that out. Again, it is another easy to care for plant. It's a plant that you can actually neglect, and I can speak from experience. Any other plant that I've neglected that wasn't in Aglaonema would have died, but you know, Aglaonemas are very resistant. And then you can see right here, this is a Calathea rospicta. Love this. I ended up getting this particular Calathea actually at this Walmart. I took the soil out and now it's just growing in hydroponics or straight water. And then you can see right over here, this is some more Epipremnum aureum, lemon meringue pothos. It's got some really nice variegation on it. And as I pan away, we've got some fiddle fig leaves as well as some Monstera deliciosos right here. Beautiful green foliage, nice foliage. These are for $24.47. I ended up buying a Monstera from this Walmart as well. And you can see right here, you can see that new leaf that is about to unfurl from this Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf. Never get tired of Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. This is in a hanging basket for $10.97. That's not a bad price at all. And again, that goes to show that Walmart has some really cost-effective, budget-saving plants. You can see here we've got a spider plant, Bonnie spider plant. This is the curly spider plant, really cool looking one as well for $19.84. I'd love to add a spider plant to my collection. I think those are so cool. The only thing about spider plants is if you're gonna water them, you wanna water them with purified or distilled water. Their leaves tend to get like brown points if you water them with just tap water. Over here, we've got a teddy bear vine. It looks like a velvet version of a Tradescanthia. What another beautiful plant. Now, this plant can get a little bit leggy. And so when the plant starts to show signs of legginess, I would just trim it back. You can actually take the trimmings and put them in water and propagate them and get some more free plants. But that'll keep it from actually getting leggy. And then this one right here is a pink wave Photonia. I don't have any Photonias in my collection because Photonias by nature like their soil to be a little bit more moist and wet, and I just don't water my plants. Although I will say it's going to be easier for me to water a lot of my plants in my kitchen and living room area because I just got my sink redone. So I have a huge like one compartment sink to where I can just put the plants and then just water them from the sink. So I have been doing that all day today as well, in between editing this video. So hopefully that improves my watering my watering routine. Here we've got another peperomia. This is a peperomia teardrop. I like the variegated version of this one, but again, this is another plant that I would love to add to my collection. You know, there's a lot of plants that I want to add to my collection. Like this one right here, I'm not 100% sure what the plant ID for this plant is. It looks like some type of ground cover type plant. This is another one for $19.84. So plant foldies, let me know in the comments if you know this particular plant ID, but this is another Costa Farms exotic angel plant. You know, Costa Farms just has so many cool plants that they always release. I would love for Costa Farms to release a list of their Hydra Helix plants that they've released out in the big box stores. I know there's one particular Lowe's that has a lot of Hedera Helix or English Ivy, and that's another place I would like to visit before I go on vacation to film. So check that video out if I'm able to get it. And then you can see right here, we've got some Phalaenopsis orchids on clearance for $2. Now, I would totally buy these clearance Phalaenopsis orchids. Like these ones are for $10. And the only reason why they're on clearance is because the blooms are about to go. So that means you'll just have just like the foliage of the Phalaenopsis orchid. I have a variegated Phalaenopsis orchid. I love the look of my variegated Phalaenopsis orchid. It is another plant that once the blooms go, you can actually repot it. I actually repotted mine actually while it's still in bloom, but ideally, if you're gonna repot a Phalaenopsis orchid or any type of orchid, you wanna wait until all of the blooms are spent. They definitely don't wanna be planted in soil. You have to plant Phalaenopsis orchids or orchids in orchid bark or an orchid bark mix. The best mix that I would recommend is buying them from Lowe's called Better Grow orchid mix. It's another orchid mix that I actually mix into my soil when I actually repot some of my plants because it makes it a little bit more chunky. But yes, there are some clearance orchids as well. So if you want some cheap orchids, this is the Walmart to go to. And then you can see here, they've got quite a bit of outdoor plants still. And then look at this beautiful Monstera leaf right here. Now, I'm just going to take a little bit more time to show you some of the plant merchandising they have. I love how they have all of these large foliage plants right here. We've got some Majesty palms here for $24.97. Now with Majesty palms, they are literally at any big box store. I'm not really into palms because number one, palms need a lot of light. And then number two, they just take up a lot of space. And I feel like if I'm gonna have a plant take up a lot of space, I would rather invest in a plant that has more interest than a palm. Now, no offense to anybody who's into palms. If you love palms, more power to you, but this is just my personal plant aesthetics. I prefer something like a Monstera deliciosa, like one that would just get really large rather than a, you know, the Majesty palm. And you can see here, they've got a ton of beautiful Monsteras. And you can see here, they've got a Spathiphyllum or peace lily that just needs to be watered. That is a super dramatic plant. But if you water that plant, it will literally resurrect itself from the dead and come back to life. I'm so serious. It's just such a dramatic plant. But you can see here, these Monstera deliciosas, I really hope people will buy them. I've seen a lot of these just go down, you know, in the trash, but it's such a beautiful plant. And you got to think all of these plants took a while to grow. So that's the reason why I do plant shopping videos, to just get more people excited about plants. So if you're like a first time plant parent, definitely go to big box stores and check out some of the plants I'm featuring, like the Monstera deliciosa right here. Easy to care for plant. It is a plant though that will require some more space as it gets larger because it can get extremely large. You can see though like beautiful leaves that they have over here unfurling, and I have seen some really nice mature versions of a Monstera deliciosa in people's homes. It's a very stylish plant. It is a plant that just brings you a lot of joy, even if it's not variegated, or I feel like even the non-variegated Monsteras are amazing. I have two so far, and I'm hoping that I can get mine to grow a little bit larger. And then you can see right here, this is another Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. This one right here has an interesting all white leaf, and it looks like the next leaf that's growing out is going to be white as well. I always find it interesting how random variegation is, and you can see that they have like a whole shoot that doesn't really have a lot of leaves as well. But for the most part, this Walmart here has just a lot of beautiful plants. So plant foldies, let me know in the comments what you think so far of all the plants I've featured here. Would you buy this Monstera deliciosa? And would you actually buy some of these ZZ plants? So we've got ZZ plants here, just a regular green ZZ plants, and then we also have some Raven ZZ plants. These plants, again, don't need to be watered as often. Actually, if you overwater them, that's really the fastest way to kill them. They are almost indestructible plants. They can tolerate lower light conditions. They're not as pest prone, and they're easy to propagate as well from cuttings. You can just take a water cutting, cut it, put it in water, and it's good to go. And then over here, we've got some Ficus ginseng bonsai. This one is for $24.47, I believe. And you can see right there, that trunk is pretty cool. I used to have a ginseng bonsai. Those are pretty cool. I just feel like the trunk or the base is really what makes the plant. It is a cool looking plant, but it's not a plant that I would really add to my collection again. And then it looks like somebody changed their mind on this gorgeous Philodendron ring of fire. Love the planter that it's in. I really am all about that planter. And then it looks like somebody might have changed their mind on this Philodendron white princess. This one doesn't nearly have as much variegation, although the new leaf might be unfurling a more variegated leaf. And then we've got some more Ficus lyrata right here, or fiddle fig leaf. So plant foldies, what do you think about the Ficus lyrata? Do you grow fiddle fig leaf? I used to have a really large one, but I always just find that plant to be a little bit finicky. The one I bought for 99 cents at Sprouts, which is another grocery store, it's doing okay. I was not consistent with the watering, therefore it kind of lost some of its leaves, but it is recovering again. It's just another plant that just needs a little bit more attention. Same thing with these Dieffenbachia here. As beautiful as they are, look at the coloration of it. They're just a little bit more challenging to grow indoors because they need a little bit more light. And notice how that has blooms on that particular one. I would cut the blooms off, because if you're growing a plant for its foliage, keeping the blooms will actually stunt the plant's growth. It'll actually put more energy producing the blooms versus producing the leaves. But plant foldies, as you can see right here on a beautiful Sunday morning, still lots of beautiful plants. I think that is a good way to start your day off. And so for those that miss my live premieres, I always find it amazing that you'll start your day off by watching one of my plant shopping videos. As always, guys, please make sure you are hitting that like button. If you made it this far, please, please, please hit that like button. And then also subscribing to my channel with the notification bell on. I know that we've had some regulars not even subscribe. I'm hoping that we can get to 10,000 subscribers soon. Now, this is Richie at Growfold. I will definitely have another video, brand new video for you tomorrow. So I will see you again. Bye.